Hello, and welcome back to Alpha Centauri Let's Play. This is Northstar. I hope you folks are well, taking care of each other, being kind to yourselves. I'm here, spending a little time catching my breath, thinking what to do with this former. I think I remembered why I actually chose to do condenser here, even though putting it here would have gotten me more nutrients immediately. I think because I was going to raise this tile. And with the rainfall pattern changes, sometimes the tiles where you raise can become arid if they're moist, or moist if they're raining, like over there. I'm doing it to get this minerals bonus above sea, so I can plant a borehole there. It'll also bring up two other tiles above sea level, which I don't know what. I probably want to put a base on this one. Excuse me. It'll be on the new coastline that way. Hydrology Council will sit on a little inland sea, 3 tiles. I could eventually fill that in just for more space for forests. Raising the terrain maybe after I bore holes around it so that because sometimes you can turn a borehole tile into soap and it won't destroy it. Reclaiming land like that, not super useful, especially if it messes with the forest. The river pathway. But anyways, this tile with condenser and a little bit to the west of where I'm going to raise is less likely to end up dropping down moisture level. And so yeah, it's going to be condenser farm, move there. Probably plant a mine first and then raise the terrain. Here, however, I probably want a road coming down from monitoring agencies so I can get units down there quickly, including the formers, which aren't just purely economic benefit. I need to get some sensor arrays near the border of Sparta to give me advance warning of incoming stacks, because they give visibility. They're a lot cheaper than stationing a unit. If you add the former turns, it's like 4 former turns, maybe 4 more to get out there. It's back. It's maybe a little more, 12. It's like equivalent of 12 minerals versus, a slow probe team to keep watch the same way has less visibility and costs 20 or 18. So it's a little bit cheaper, and it also decreases monoworm spawns moving through the fungus. So probably it's a rocky tile next to the monolith, because that will give me warning of Spartan units trying to cross through here. Anyhow, just do a road here. Could have done it on the forest. I think it would have taken 2 turns of effort. Here it takes 1, but to move. So it's in many ways equivalent, except that eco damage, I probably would be working the forest, not this empty flat tile. But also I want the road to come this way so that later I can just extend it through here and then to the monolith and be able to rush units down if I have to replace losses in War of Sparta and probe teams and such as I produce them. Formers will also eventually be able to set up bunkers on the border. Again, once I get optical computers, which comes after polymorphic software, I'll need it for superconductors, which I need for Gadon lasers, which is actually worse weapon than missiles, but it's on the way to fusion power, and it's a new unit I can prototype for a little bit higher morale. And in some cases, it might cost less on rovers or something. Might be more cost effective in certain cases. Or just, if I'm upgrading a recon rover, give it a Gatling laser. 10 energy less, it's a little less effective, but if I'm attacking plasma steel or synth metal troops, there's very little difference in real effectiveness. It's cheaper. So, after I've prototyped it anyways. So yeah, let's see, I've got this probe team here. I'll go through here. There's a lot of units stat. At least 2 to protect the probe team, because if you only have 1 and it gets destroyed, you can lose the teams, I'm pretty sure. So, mine worms, main thing. This recon rover should next turn be able to upgrade into a missile rover once I have the prototype done. Could put it here. The Spartans declare war on me. Be well situated there, and not next to mine worms. Also defends the probe team, I suppose, in case there's nothing that the Spartans could reach it with this turn. I could invade their territory, though, to protect probe teams from being kicked back out. That's a possibility. For a turn, anyhow. Help me penetrate deeper. I see no reason not to do this. Keep an eye on the border. Be ready to strike them. So, yeah, got a recon rover there, ready to strike if need be. When I was messing with Design Workshop before, I realized I forgot something. Why is it? Where is recon rovers, skim ship? These are also obsolete. It's worth noting. Are they? Yeah. If I want to do a 2-row ship for some reason to deal with mine worms, this will cost the same and fight them a little better. But I'm not talking about marking that design obsolete to cause me to have to select fewer things. There was another speeder design I wanted. Transplasma defensive. Sometimes I will want to rush a speeder to, I want to defend a stack, and this is only 1 row more expensive than Plasma Sentinels, but if it gets damaged only a little, and if I can rush back to Monolith to heal quicker, it can also be used to sometimes skirmish infantry, and armor is what helps doing damage there still. Giving good weapons would not help. That would be pointless. So yeah, this is just replacing the plasma defensive I had before, but this one has trance because it doesn't add to cost. Let's see, anything else I'm missing? No, would not do that. 4 rows. 5. It would cost 50 energy to upgrade a C-formative fungicidal. But it might be worth to produce some of these outright. I don't have any C-formers, in fact. And since ships are so darn expensive, it's harder to guard them. Give it a little armor. Oh, I could give it plasma steel for the same cost. Might as well, then. Helps a tiny, tiny bit if it's ever attacked by enemy factions. More expensive to upgrade, but because this is 60, I wouldn't be upgrading and only be producing this outright anyways. Yeah. I'll have these. Eventually, I might produce some. Now, if this was the on Crossfire, I could give it the resonance armor, which would help against mind worms. But mainly, I wanted some armor, any armor, to remove the non-combat debuff against mind worms. And plasma steel costs the same as synth metal, so why not? More expensive upgrade, but I'm not going to be upgrading C-formers. If I produce some of these, they're just gonna usually be escorted. Which, same number of minerals, I can get an escort and a C-former, but then I have to pay the support on 2 units instead of 1. So, if I'm guarding the C-former, C Isles of Deep have a lot of movement, so I'm more likely to get attacked. It's very hard to see them before they attack. So, also, but Psi Combat C at least is 1-to-1. There's no attacker advantage. So yeah, I get most of the effectiveness in defense of, I guess that means the non-combat ships fight at 2-to-1 odds against them. So that, it's not, it's mainly just about saving support. Anyhow. This is already starting to get to be a somewhat cluttered production interface. So rovers, squad, APCs, transports, because some bases just don't have the industry for APCs. Probably want to usually finish. This is a 4-row. The first 2 rows and hurry the last 2. Transports, I can finish 1 row and hurry the last 2. Probe team, a frontier probe team for the rare cases where I want to defend a base against mind worms, or I just later when I'm flush with industry. Excuse me. Since it's only 3 rows, if I just want to put a little more energy into rushing 2 rows instead of 1, 3 more energy, which is, to potentially not have to guard a probe team that's maybe acting as a forward observer with scout patrol. So, well, I can't if it's in Spartan territory. So, yeah, I may eventually do some frontier probe teams. In fact, it's 3 rows. It's only costs 40 to upgrade a slow probe team to a frontier one. It's not insanely expensive. Some of them get to be like elite. I might consider it. Or commando. Anyhow. A little more movement stuff. Maybe? Nah. I'm going to contact Deidre now because what the outcome of that is could influence my decisions with unit movement. Plus, I'm getting more tired as I go on. After this, I'll probably do a pop-up dungeon video and then Rebel Inc. And I'll be exhausted and have to go to sleep. So what do I get done in a day? I'm lucky to get 4 videos done. The Humane Commissioner Law. I've heard many tales of your exploits. As to myself, our main lady Deidre of the Gaians. My intention is to guard, understand, and preserve planet's native life. Why is she seething? I can't adopt green yet because I don't have the text, so she can't be annoyed. Well, actually, she could be annoyed I'm implant even though she can't. Maybe that's why. That's the only reason I can think of. She'd be mad at me is that I'm running planned economy instead of green. But I don't have the tech for green. So I hear you've been in touch with our old colleague, Zakharov. Just between us, I find his reckless minions a bit creepy. But so far, well, yeah, they're like Nazi scientists, probably test nerve gas on civilians kind of stuff. There's been fanfics where people at the university would do that. I don't think there's any official canon stuff where the university does, but no, actually, I think there was one thing about unethical medical testing in one of the books or something. And I know they do an inhumane brain experimentation in one of the books by one of the devs. So yeah, the university is deeply unethical. Uh, so far, we've been able to cooperate, and he has not tried to interfere in my affairs. Speaking of which, I have a nice map of university territory, which I'd be happy to exchange for your information on gene splicing. Gene splicing will help her grow her pops faster. She's well, I'm gonna do the planetary governor elections now, probably. I don't know where the heck the university is. How does she have a map of university? I don't even see the university listed as one of the factions. Look at the profile of Morgan. She's ambivalent towards the Morganites, non-committal towards the Spartans, ambivalent towards the Believers. Anyways, she's mad at me. I don't need her declaring war or allying with the Spartans against me, which she could do. Sparta, there are some pre-programmed dislikes between faction leaders. Many people think it's Hive and Peacekeepers. It is not. Yang has no inherent dislike of Wall or vice versa, although they have opposing government systems, so they'll tend to hate each other because of that. A little bit, but they can't actually ask the other to switch their system because Wall can't run police state and Yang democracy, so they can actually get along. Some human player. Spartans are the inherent enemies of the peacekeepers. They're the ones who are programmed to have, by default, they tend to like you -1 each turn. It's like hidden. It's not. I remember reading about it a long time ago. There's an opinion decay factor towards your natural enemy. Morgan and Gaia, which is why I'm surprised she's not hostile to Morgan. Peacekeeper in Sparta. Believers in the university. The Hive have no inherent enemies, which is a tiny consolation prize to the fact they're probably the weakest faction when led by a player. The AI uses them well, but that's because they use all their factions poorly and they suffer the least. Plus, some of the buffs the AI gets in higher difficulties make the Hive not so bad. Cancels out their normal econ and penalty and enables them, I think, to pop boom without having democracy even, without needing a golden age, because the Thinker and Transcend, they get +2 or +3 on growth in addition to their normal +1, which means they should be able to, with just planned pop boom. AI only bonuses. Anyways, so I heard you've been in touch with our old colleague Zakharov. If I give her the tech, she's more likely to discover something else I could trade with her. I'll do it. Also, I need her to like me a little more. Yes, actually, that'd be quite useful. And now I'll know where Zakharov is. I believe your data on industrial economics. Well, she can't run free market, so it's not going to help her that much, except a little more commerce income. And the ability to build energy banks could have important implications for my environmental initiatives. I propose that you exchange this knowledge for my own files on intellectual integrity. Interested? That'll allow me to raise police units and trained units. That is high morale. Pay extra minerals, get units with higher morale rating. Police, not super useful right now. My base is with the Human Genome Project and this being librarian difficulty. all I need is a rec commons to reach size 9. At which point, with the secret project and the rec commons, let's see, 3 workers by default on librarian, then those are all talents at size 9. Rec commons changes 2 drones of the 6 to workers, and then a 4th becomes a talent thanks to Human Jome. Yep, I only need a rec commons to reach size 9, so I don't really need police units, but high morale isn't terrible, and it does lead to other techs. I don't want Doctrine Loyalty, and she could run planned, although actually she already has a tech for green, so she's probably running it. Or will be. Economics simple. Yeah, she hasn't switched to green, but it is her agenda, and she does have the tech because she's already working on the secret project that it allows. Centauri empathy allows green economics. Planetary networks won't help her much, but it will let her raise probe teams, which she'll probably mainly use to defend against high probe teams. So do I give her planetary networks or industrial economics? I wish if I had memorized, there's like a drop a tech thing in this game. It's a feature I've always known about, but I don't. Some really advanced players have memorized, like if you have these techs, there'll always be one tech that you'd be able to research that won't show up in your research options. So I don't know if I could potentially slow her getting industrial automation, which is what I really don't want her to have. Because I don't want her to brace me the planetary transit network. She's already a monster, like huge faction compared to many. 35 votes, but with her debuff to growth. This is actually impressive. I can see her bases. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She's got 8 bases. It's not bad. And she can capture mine worms, which means her military can be quite formidable as it is, and that allows her to focus more on economic units. Maybe her AI at this difficulty might actually be building a decent number of formers. If I tell her no, she's not gonna particularly like me. I don't really want her to have industrial economics or planetary networks. You know what? Intellectual and it's steel.
Man's unfailing capacity to believe what he prefers to be true rather than what the evidence shows to be likely and possible has always astounded me. We long for a caring universe which will save us from our childish mistakes, and in the face of mountains of evidence to the contrary, we will pin all our hopes on the slimmest of doubts. God has not been proven not to exist. Therefore, he must exist. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, for I have tasted the fruit.
Yep. Zarkov is a militant atheist. That's for sure. I don't. It's obnoxious. It really is. You'd think you have better things to whine on about, but this game was made in the 90s, and people are like, oh, science or religion, or you know what's really in opposition? Capitalism and religion. I mean, you've gotten freaking religious leaders who co-opted and act like they're synonymous, but you also have these same pricks selling out to right-wing politicians, and even though most religions preach empathy and kindness towards your fellow human beings, which is a left-wing thing, if anything, and capitalism places greed above everything else, even though nearly every religion on the planet says that greed is a bad thing. So, yeah. But of course, creating this religion science thing. It goes partly back to CERN battles in the 1800s over evolution stuff, and there are nut cases refuse to accept evolution to this day. And partly the rich, the ruling class, trying to stoke the flames of this tension so that other ones with capitalism won't become more powerful tensions. Anyways, the search for intellectual integrity arises from questions posed by ethical calculus and doctrinal loyalty. According to this philosophy, valid wisdom comes merely from asking questions unburdened by prejudices. No. Intellectual integrity is about not accepting things that are mutually following where the evidence goes, basically, and not accepting things that are mutually contradictory. The quote describes it well. This description, not so much. Only by shedding those preconceived notions can we achieve the clarity of undistorted knowledge. No, that's not what intellectual integrity is. The quote describes it very well. The description was clearly written by someone else who didn't really understand it. Intellectual integrity, people often, even when they have evidence they're wrong, refuse to believe they're wrong. Cognitive dissonance. Intellectual integrity is the opposite of just, it's where you actually go and say, okay, like, a great example of this in my own life is that I was fairly pro-capitalist until the pandemic hit. Then I looked at how it was being handled, and I was like a social democrat, but I still thought capitalism was the best economic system. I looked at how the pandemic was being handled, and I realized profit motive had clearly motivated the way that people's lives were being thrown away like garbage. There was no question of that. And so I took that fact. There's just, some people might say this clearly, but especially with my background in virology, I could see very clearly there was something deeply wrong with the handling of the pandemic. And I allowed it, instead of just holding that and making excuses, I followed that evidence. If that is true, what other conclusions does that lead to? If you have Trump saying people should inject bleach to avoid mask mandates because it would hurt billionaire profits, if you have Biden taking a weak-wristed approach to the pandemic, because he really did, he in fact suppressed the CDC from taking a stronger stance in certain cases, and then pushed this narrative that declare the pandemic over even when COVID is still around, and never talk about long COVID, even though millions are disabled with it. That's, both parties in the U.S. represent the interests of the billionaire class, which is something I kind of already knew. But I was always somebody who believed we need like more than two parties. We need, the Green Party to be. I guess you could say it was something I leaned towards Green Party politics. If we didn't have a two-party system, I probably would have voted Green my whole life until the pandemic. But yeah, but then I followed by the evidence and I started asking questions unburdened by preconceived beliefs. That much is unburdened by prejudice is correct. But the key thing, what really constitutes the intellectual integrity here, is refusing to just let my preconceived prejudices prevent me from following the evidence. That's the nature of intellectual integrity. And following the evidence eventually led me to become a socialist within not a long time, a few months of dedicated investigation of this stuff in my free time, especially after I got disabled the next year with long COVID. And managed to do this while I was getting straight A's in my master's program, because I can integrate information very quickly, especially when I have a lot of things to tie it into, which I did because I already followed politics my whole life. But a few months, not even. I still don't know how I managed to find time for all this, but I did. Probably by not trying to date, which had been a massive time sink. But during the pandemic, it was dumb as hell to try and date, so I wasn't spending time in dating apps. So spent all my time studying, and then a little bit of studying politics. Anyways, so Commissioner Wall, what do you have to say for yourself? Commissioner Law, your planned economics, okay, yeah, this is why she's irritated, are wasteful. More to the point, your ballooning population. Yep, that's why you don't like more traditional socialism. Maybe you could be considered eco-socialism, but because of the way it leads to population growth, or in our own world, even socialist countries like the Soviet Union's latest in later years had below replacement fertility rates in China today, but they tend to have higher, um, or Cuba. You don't see, partly because of investment in women's rights, but in education, but for a certain given level of wealth in women's education has a much stronger effect on birth rates than wealth. You can see some very wealthy countries with poor women's rights that have very high birth rates. Anyways, it does lead to population growth, faster population growth if there is population growth, positive sometimes where it would otherwise be slightly negative, etc. So she is right. It does increase environmental impact. In this game, more pops usually means more minerals. More of the point, your ballooning population and inefficient polluting industry. I mean, it's less polluting than a capitalist one. Deidre, would you prefer I go free market? Will soon cause permanent damage to planet's fragile environment. True, although the way that it's modeled in this game is that the damage heals, probably because the fungus is like, well, you'll see. I'm sure your concerns are humanitarian nature. They are, but in the long run, your people will benefit from a carefully regulated green economy. Do not have the tech, need the population growth. You don't like the population growth, Deidre. I need the population growth, both to win the Planetary Council elections and to expand my industry and energy production eventually. The more population I have, the more worthwhile scientific endeavors are, and the more capable I have to conduct them at the same time. No, green economy is more when you have so many bases, you're starting to suffer a lot of bureaucracy drones, and some are really far from your HQ. Usually a better late game economy than planned. Until you get, or I should say mid late game. And when you get really late game, plan becomes better because you have lots of satellites, lots of specialists. Green doesn't benefit either of those. And you actually, tech is starting to become less and less cost effective because there's diminishing returns. Even without tech destination, then even though green will allow you to tech faster by pulling up the lab slider, you probably want planned to benefit, to make all your specialists if you've properly invested. Of course, if you're just speed running a game, you can use it win while you're still free market, which is kind of the best early game economy if you aren't in a situation like I have so many units outside my borders that the pacifism drones would screw me. And I'm gonna need to have even more when I go to war with Sparta. It's because I got a big continent to explore, mainly. Anyways, have you any further business? Got a couple proposals to make. Let's start with a treaty of friendship. Make her more amenable to everything else. Let's see, what do you offer in return? Some of my value research data, perhaps. Maybe a modest sum of energy. Your faction has grown far too powerful, Commissioner Law. And as you proceed with setting yourself up as the only legitimate authority on planet, I see no desirable place for myself in your fearsome peacekeeper scheme. Even in friendship, my environmental initiatives will be threatened. Alright, well, I'll have to run green to go to light me. Oh yeah, I saw some assholes calling it an exploit to switch to the ideologies that the AI likes to be friendly with them. That's not an exploit. That's literally an intended game mechanic. I mean, if you're just swapping for a turn, that might be an exploit. But if you're designing your entire economy to please your neighbor, that's something that's been present in Civ games ever since Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri introduced it in Civ 4. Leaders had a preferred civic. You could do that. Civ 3, I think there was something like that. Though there weren't civic systems that didn't really return to 4. instead of 6, there were cards, and you could do ones that have more diplomacy. It's making your economy maybe less efficient, or your military, just so you can maintain peace with a neighbor who might hate you otherwise, has always been part of a civilization game series. Maybe I can give her a small gift to set up a treaty of friendship. We accept a small token of my goodwill and friendship. You mean a gift? I like gifts. What do you have in mind? Would you find a sum of energy credits helpful? Just what manner of sum are we talking about here? I'm not even sure 25 will affect our opinion at all. 75. Have you any further business? She's now non-committal. Another proposal to make. Let's sign a treaty of friendship. Energy? She still won't do it. Do I have to bribe her again? God. This is a lot of energy to give her just to keep something like a peace with her. Cooperative. Now. Name your price. Still, it must be the AI has decided that she wants to win the Planetary Council elections. Alright, well. Does she have any research data? Tech trade? For my files on doctrine loyalty, the price is 275 energy credits. It would cost me more than that to tech it. Sure. This is one of the reasons I did not spend. I knew I was gonna need some energy for diplomacy, possibly. Yep, I'll pay it.
Therefore, a wise prince will seek means by which his subjects will always, and in every possible condition of things, have need of his government, and then they will always be faithful to him. Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince, Data Links.
Yep, so while I was just thinking about this, before when I waited till I discovered Secrets of the Human Brain to do tech trades, it actually did help me because I was able to lock in the tech cost. What was I working on then? I got Secrets of the Human Brain. I swapped to... Oh yeah, no, I started right on industrial automation. I was able to lock in the price of industrial automation before I got gene splicing and what else did I get via tech trade? Shoot, why am I not remembering what else the Hive gave me? Oh, synthetic fossil fuels, that's right. So I saved effectively some lab points. And now, I'm getting this tech, which would further drive up the cost of industrial automation, but I already locked it in at its previous price. Won't go up unless I change priorities. This is marginal since I can't do police state, but and I already have intellectual integrity. You can actually bypass prereqs with tech trades, but it does allow primary defenses. And I'll want those someday. Plus, I think teacher like me more for having done the tech trade. Doctrine mobility proved a sound dogma for the early years on planet. However, as the struggle for survival against native mindworms and rival factions intensifies, many younger officers repudiate the old guard's emphasis on mobility as a dominant military policy. Based also on the revelations of social psych, the new doctrine loyalty stresses extensive training, defensive facilities, and zealous dedication to faction leaders as the foundation for survival and success in combat. Doctrine loyalty emphasizes a two-way fealty. Soldiers are expected to lay down their lives without question. But in return, they receive respect, power, and positions of authority in the new social hierarchy. That's why it gives police state. Very marginal tech for me. Really? She's still away at cooperative. Even after the tech trade, even after 150 energy credits gifts. Come on. There we go. Solicitous. Alright, I've been bribing the heck out of her. Do a treaty of friendship. Gah! Oh, Santiago is currently the eligible candidate. Not her? Maybe it's one of the three. She wants 200. I don't have 250 energy credits because I gifted her so many. And then she signs off. Bloody guy in tree hugging. Ah. Wait, university is south of the Spartans? Now, so the map I got included impact shelter. That's where the units are. I think what's going on, I was expecting the Spartans had pulled all their units because they were going to attack me. I think they're going to go declare war on the university. That would make perfect sense. Strategically, they're much weaker. Vendetta. Yeah, it didn't give me a message or something, but the university and Sparta are at war. The university is going to get their ass kicked. There's no question. This base is actually controlled by the Spartans, despite the map. There's all the Spartan infantry. They're all okay. Makes sense. Instead of taking on an opponent who's technically a little bit stronger than them, the Spartans are going for the much weaker opponent to their south. That will give them the power to pose much more of a threat to me if I don't do something about it anyhow. Bloody hell. Smart, but this also explains why Zarkov has so few votes, because he lost a base, and why Santiago is now eligible. 44 votes. Oh, there was other stuff here. What she's researching. Isn't Miriam also at war with the university? And the Morganites? Yeah, she is. Maybe Santiago asked her to join the war. So Darwin has already been captured. They have some actual terraforming around it. Mine on the rocky tile. I mean, they're probably planning ahead towards lifting the mineral cap, though they almost certainly don't have the tech yet. Sensor in the forest. It's not a bad idea. Some roads, probably for defense power projection. Also not a terrible idea. And a couple farm solar collectors. I don't know why people say the AI does terrible terraforming. This is not bad. The main thing they're missing is, well, there's not enough of it. And then they haven't terraformed there or there, but it's less that they're stupid, although they probably do add too many roads. Though you get a combat bonus attacking along roads, so it does help with killing units that end up on. If they just built more formers and fewer roads, they would actually, I would say this is semi-reasonable for before any of the advanced terraforming options. Farm solar collectors, especially here. This one's 2 energy. But even at lower elevations, this one's also higher elevation. Players love their forests, but before you get tree farms, which are expensive and require quite a bit of tech, especially if you're doing textination, it's going to be a while to have them. This is a 2 nutrient tile, so you can get your base up to a more reasonable size. Let's see, this base is probably working the monolith for sure, and maybe the mine or forest. Forest, they're smart. So, yeah, that's not a bad set of tiles to work. 7 nutrients. They may even have a recycling tank, but if not, they're probably growing towards size 5, and actually they probably were size 5 until they got captured. Decent mineral production, some energy to put into, of course, the university's research bonuses. And they probably should have done a solar collector here at higher elevation. Put the sensor array for forward or something, but it's not horrendous. It's just a matter of not having enough. How is this? Oh, there's no fungus in that tile. Like, how is there fungus and it's the fungus has been removed and this hasn't been updated, the map. Solar collector on the minerals bonus. Okay, that's terrible terraforming. This should be a mine. Just hands down, this should be a farm mine. Since they don't have the tech for boreholes. Okay, so Sparta isn't doing a great job with their terraforming. Spartan terraforming is idiotic, but university, I can't complain too much. A little heavy on the roads. Yeah. I don't have. If the Spartan army is all down there, this is probably a good time to infiltrate their territory with probe teams, since they won't have as many to deal with them. And if I can lure them into going to war with me, I would say that it'd be helpful to grab bases while they're under-defended. Although they probably will be able to bring units back north fairly quickly. Yeah. Interesting. Alright, well. So I bribed the heck out of Deidre, and she still wouldn't form a treaty of friendship. She's only going to get more annoyed at me as time goes on. Tempted to roll that back. That's just like, what the heck? What the heck? I still know where Yang... Oh, there's Yang. Okay, yeah, Yang is south of the freshwater sea and Deidre is north. She has massive room to expand towards the ruins. And I just gave her a bunch of energy that's going to help her tech up. And on the bright side, she's the wealth leader. If she ends up with more money than Morgan, which she does have more, then Morgan should hate her for it, because Morgan is programmed to dislike anyone who's got more money in him. Yeah, I kid you not. That's in his programming. And if that eventually leads to Deidre and Morgan going to war, that could help the Believers finally wipe Morgan. Or at least... Yeah, he doesn't even have contact with the Gaians yet. Oh, energy reserves 439. So Deidre has more than that. Quite a lot in reserve. Researching nonlinear mathematics. As is Miriam. I don't have to necessarily steal that. I could just trade for it with one of my Pact-mates. Alright. Energy credits under 96. Greetings to you, Commissioner Law. You're always the most humane of all of us, and your followers the most loyal. Miriam, sister of Believers, salutes you. She wants me to declare on Morgan. No. They're loyal allies. She's uploading updated maps. Be pleased to learn I have broken the back of the Morganic resistance. I look forward to my personal interrogation of CEO Morgan. His days of counting his ill-gotten energy tokens are numbered. Be warned I should not long tolerate collaboration with my mortal enemy, the monopolistic CEO Morgan. For a proposal to make. I would have contacted you otherwise. She's got more money than me, which might allow me to now borrow a loan from her. For urgent need of energy credits. What do you offer in return? A generous schedule of loan repayments. Your credit is good, Commissioner Law, and I can spare you 49 energy credits. My terms are generous. You must pay me 1 credit per year for 63 years. I think that's a slight better interest rate than the last time I could get a loan. Yeah. I don't want to borrow a ton. Not that short. I'll get more from mine worms. Yes, please. Another proposal. She doesn't have any text I can hit. Will you accept a small token of my goodwill and friendship? Some of my valuable research data. Synthetic fossil fuels. Yes. Your data has been received and judged most useful. My thanks. I may have to give her another tech. Another proposal. Accept a small token of my goodwill and friendship. Another tech. Higher energy chemistry. Yep. I need her to cooperate because I need her vote at the upcoming council meeting, and I don't think she'll do it. If she's not at least here. I'm willing to vote for you for governor, but it'll cost you 64 energy credits or your files in gene splicing. I'll give her gene splicing. I believe we were finished here. All out. Yeah, I can see. Out of curiosity, 119 energy credits in reserve. Yeah, Santiago's got a bit, though it's not tons. And Morgan still has more than me. Good. So he won't be annoyed. Greetings to you, Commissioner. Well, you are, as always, the most humane of us, and your father is the most loyal. Morgan, CEO of the Morganites, salutes you. No, I'm not turning on the believers. Your so-called Pact sister Miriam has gone mad, now spends her time pounding her cherished Bible. Won't you renounce your pact to the believers to gain my friendship? No. That upsets them. Of course, do not presume to insult me. Commissioner all Pact brothers, though it may be. And he hates planned economy, so your planned economy is wrong-headed and inefficient, Commissioner all, and stifles the just and proper flow of capital on this planet. You mean to the billionaires. Trillionaires, maybe, with this sci-fi future. I hope you will open your markets to a more realistic model. Pat brother, I'm now opening my most recent exploration data. Dear Central Computer. Sister Miriam of the Believers and her Bible-thumping minions oppressed me against me most brutally. Implore you to send assistance. My back is to the wall. Be warned I should not long tolerate collaboration with the mortal enemy, the fanatic Sister Miriam. A proposal. I'll probably should have done it this order first with the one from Miriam, but oh, what? Small token of friendship. I'm gonna give him a tech. He's got more techs than Miriam did, obviously. But there's still some I have. You mean a gift? I like gifts. What do you have in mind? It's my valuable research data. Gene splicing. Could give him that. Yeah, it'll lead to maybe he is growing his population sooner. I'm not saying he's probably limited by lack of terraforming and whatever. I'm gonna have to give him probably that and intellectual integrity. This does lead to synthetic fossil fuels, which I don't really want him to use that against the believers. However, I'll just, yes, begin transmission. Has been received and judged most useful. My thanks. Another proposal. Tech. Intellectual integrity. Yep. My name, yes. Alright. Urgent need of energy credits. He's not likely to just do it for goodwill and friendship because he likes to hoard money. Generous schedule of loan repayments. Credit's good. I can spare you 219 energy credits. The more they have, the more you have. The larger the loans usually are. My terms are generous. You must pay me 4 credits per year for 100 years. Unlike Miriam, who wanted 20% more back in the long run, he wants almost double. That said, if you compute returns on investment and what you can get by investing energy in your economy, this is actually worthwhile. Except the loan. He probably won't get all back before Miriam squishes him like a bug. Need your vote in upcoming council meeting. Elect Planetary Governor. Vote for me. Support you as governor, or if you can come up with 98 energy credits, or your files in doctrinal loyalty, high energy chemistry, and synthetic fossil fuels. Oh my goodness, that's a lot of tech. I mean, Miriam's probably gonna squish him like a bug either way, but this is gonna make it harder, much harder for her. You know what? This will help ensure that maybe he actually gets techs that I don't have, which allow tech trades. Yeah, I'll give him the techs. Have any further business? He's all the way down to ambivalent now, despite all that tech I gave him, and he really didn't want to voting for me for Planetary Governor. was a lot to ask, I guess. Or maybe it's because I have more money than now, thanks to loan. I believe, although it didn't trigger until after one more deal. I believe we're finished here. He doesn't have anything I can trade for, right? Nope, nothing at all. I believe you're finished. All out. Cool. So at least got my Pact-mates voting for me for sure. Let's save. I'm willing to accept some stuff. And income -2 a turn. That's because of all the loans. When I take democracy, I'll be back to positive. I can maintain that though, just with mine worms. Some of that's going to go into unit upgrades. And rushing, obviously, of stuff. Probably afford a recycling tank somewhere. I got a larger one than I expected from Morgan. Let's see, where is... Man command is growing. Yes, defense command, which is barely avoiding starvation. Right. It's likely to grow very slowly. In fact, not at all, unless they could. So defense command is one possibility. Man command with its complete lack of minerals is another. Maritime command. It's already got a little surplus, not much. And it doesn't have a recycling tank. Yep, it's 4 rows. And then it's definitely more cost effective to produce, since to produce a fungicide format, right, than to upgrade, especially if I'm not upgrading them all. I lose form return. Yep, recycling tanks, and then a fungicidal former. Also change this one to a fungicidal. There's a lot of fungus to move around on this peninsula. don't have that much minerals left for support. Yeah, I'm going to swap most of my formers to fungicidal formers. It'll occasionally save a former turn. It's not cost effective to give him armor, really. They still lose on average to mine worms. It's not that often they attack, but it'll lose one here and there. Long run, because this will cause my support costs to go up more slowly, building more expensive units. It's not that much worse. I'm actually going to do an APC now that I realize what's going on with Sparta attacking the university. Got a little more time. World Food Program doesn't have any mineral surplus. Any? What? I thought grind size 8 be 48. Let's see, they currently have 16, so 32 to go. I was probably going to do this later. Just doing this for now while before I take democracy with energy, that's right. I'll leave this on a stair informer because lower mineral production means I'll barely scrape the first row out. Very low mineral production. Cool. And recycling tanks, this maritime command will actually reach size 5 in reasonable time. Let's see. One more nutrient from this, one from that. Still be one nutrient shy of being able to run a specialist. Oh yeah, and this probably have a farm mine soon. Actually, maybe so work that with the 4th pop. Yeah, and that'll, instead of working the energy source out at sea, that'll just barely allow a 5th pop to act as a librarian or a technician, most likely. Technician. Till I clear more tiles and get some forests in, and then I'll probably work the forest. Eventually tidal harness and their energy source. Once I have a sea former unit. Cool. Or I could raise it a sea bed here and plant a borehole. That would actually be cheaper than building a C4 unit, C former unit just for that. That would allow 8 energy, which is massive. I'd disrupt the river if I did it here, but I could probably raise from out on the peninsula. Just need probably a fungicidal former or two to clear the way. Well, any former can enter the tile, but yep. What if... Space will have 2 more minerals when it grows. Lose 1 with democracy to support costs. If I have none, obviously I can't even build infrastructure reasonably. Yeah, I'm gonna actually do a recycling tank. And then a fungicidal former. Now by that point, colony pod. Because I'll have 2 minerals. Take 15 turns, but I'll rush it. Lose the force pop soul temporarily. Now that would actually not work at all. I wouldn't be able to support the colony pod. Shoot. Alright. Just a fungicidal former unit then. World Food Program is just barely. It's going to get 1 mineral from mine, and it's going to lose from democracy a mineral. I might swap this 2 minerals and then down to 1 and then up to 2. You know what? Well, yeah, I'll do that because yeah, colony pod. It'd be slow, but I definitely need more bases. Slow to produce that. Yeah, because we'll be giving up the nutrient resource for too long. Probably work a forest. I mean, I'd rather produce colony pods at the cheaper base for them. But Planetary Trust probably needs to grow bigger, more minerals. Because this is probably what I do with the Planetary Transit Network as well. It already has one secret project. Yeah. That way I have fewer bases I have to defend that really I cannot afford to lose. To the colony pod here so I can take some pressure off Planetary Trust to build colony pods. Got a lot of spots to settle. Alright. Alright. We're at 75 minutes, so I know I need to cut this in a sec. My plan's somewhat changed. I got some loans from the other factions. Actually, Deidre might offer me a loan and give her all that money. Or Yang. Votes 112. Give me a sec. I'll look at some of this off camera for a moment. Alright, I was just counting up votes. Looks like I have the votes to become Planetary Governor now, so let's do that. Now, tell me, then I'll have infiltration on every faction. I can figure out who's got the money to maybe ask for another loan if I want it later. Contacting factions, they'll often demand things and hate you for just speaking to them. So try to keep that to minimum, but I need loans for economic development. The interest rates the AI charges are almost always less than what you can get by investing in energy. So if they'll make you a loan, it helps you. Right. So, they abstained. If they had voted against me, I still would have won, but Santiago votes for herself. Pact-mates vote for me because I asked them to. And voila. I become Planetary Governor. Actually, if I'd counted the votes, I would have realized it. Well, yeah, no. If these three and her had all voted for the same person, that would be 112 votes. I could have just asked Miriam to vote for me. I didn't need to ask Morgan. I mean, sharing text with them probably wasn't a terrible idea anyways, but if I'd just done the math, if I had been that sweaty of a player, but difficult for me. My long COVID, it's a little stressful and crunchy numbers, even though my personality tends to lead me to do it anyways. You have been elected Planetary Governor. I mean, that is, it depletes my limited mental energy to a degree it never did before I got long COVID. You've been elected Planetary Governor. As Governor, you hold an executive veto in the Planetary Council, which can block all but a unanimous vote of the remaining members, which is a reason to have a submissive faction to you or a pact-mate to generally prevent everyone from uniting against you when you're trying to do something the rest might not like. To prevent them from overruling. I should say if they're trying to do something you don't want. You gain +1 energy and commerce transactions each base from the increased commerce global agencies bring to your base. Your planetary bureaucracy, the nominal world government, provides you with infiltrator information on each of the other factions. Excuse me. So now, Pact-mates already give you full infiltration data as long as they're your Pact-mates. In Santiago, I had infiltrated. But I can now see University is taking loyalty and has 150 energy in reserve. Also, calling the Planetary Council now means everyone has contact with everyone else. Oof. Wait. Shoot. No. I'll have to redo that because I can't sell anyone comlink data once I call the Planetary Council. This is my last chance to offer them comms. The university. Have you heard from Yang recently? I've not been able to locate him or his high faction since the time of Planetfall. If he meets with Yang in council, he'll definitely be able to speak with him. I wanted to continue some of our earlier conversations. If you have his comm frequency, I could offer 50 energy credits for your trouble. Yep. I do not want to just give up on, well, not free money, but in this case, money that the Spartans would have got by taking his bases. If he became a submissive to Centauri, we'd give all his remaining energy to her. And even if not, you get energy for capturing bases proportional to energy credit reserves. Commissioner Law, I have been accused of conducting unethical research, correctly, but I think you will find a man of reason. Let's exchange knowledge on a quid pro quo basis. I will share my files in non-linear mathematics. My Pact-mates will probably trade that, or I'll steal it from Santiago. You must in return fully disclose your data on doctrinal loyalty. He's not going to like if I refuse the tech trade. I don't really want non-linear mathematics, but he's already got it. I guess that will allow me to do other things with my probes on the Spartans, like drain their energy credit reserves. Or start drone riots in a base. Cost some energy, but I'm trying to weaken Sparta. This will cause him to stop taking loyalty, which I guess I know what he's doing because that infiltration. But anyways, I knew it would possibly speed him along his research, and he'll start on something else. The only problem with this is that if you become submissive to Santiago will get not only her mathematics, but she already has that. What am I saying? I mean, he already has that. She'll get doctrine loyalty. Sparta wants to sit and build perimeter defenses. Can be my guess. It's a waste of energy. Players love it because of canceling early rushes, but they also, in this game, they do not use artillery enough. I mean, you've got a unit designer. I think the main reason players don't use artillery enough is because it's a special ability, but it's a very important class unit. You got a base with a perimeter defense, just sit and bombard the defenders. They can't heal if they've been bombarded that turn, and they take damage from the bombardment, so you can just wear them down, and then when they're weakened, you come right in. And of course, the minerals or energy invested in perimeter defense were not invested in units that can fight on the field, so you can also destroy the terraforming improvements. And bypass that base and go for a more vulnerable one. If you controlled open everything outside the bases, it doesn't matter if you can't take the bases, you'll wear them down by denying tiles. If you have a unit and a tile, it can't be warped if you're at war with a faction, and destroying terrain improvements. So at least I think that, maybe that's later Civ games. So you can basically besiege bases and wear them down, and you'll win in the long run. It might be pretty weak bases you capture at that point, especially if they pop starved. But generally try and avoid destroying the farms for that reason. But destroy the solar collectors, and so they don't keep up in tech in the mines and forests especially. And they'll have no minerals. They'll probably have to disband some military units because they can't even support them. The AI tends to build so many military units. I mean, if you're in a war, it's probably a good idea anyways that all you have to do is destroy a few mines and forests, and they start losing units without you having to even destroy them. Yeah. So it's actually, the only thing is that Santiago might run police state if I do this. Still, secrets of the human brain. It's a counter offer. I think I'll be okay with it.
There are two kinds of scientific progress.
Yep.
The methodical experimentation and categorization which gradually extend the boundaries of knowledge, and the revolutionary leap of genius which redefines and transcends those boundaries. Acknowledging our debt to the former, we yearn nonetheless for the latter. Academician Prokhor Zakharov, addressed to the faculty.
Yeah, by using the power of information networks to speed calculations and encourage collaborations, researchers make giant strides in the field of nonlinear mathematics with significant military applications. I mean, nonlinear mathematics already exist. Yeah, there was this idea in the 90s the internet would make certain types of discoveries radically quicker. Didn't really happen. Even with supercomputers, a lot of mathematics is not just crunching numbers to develop the field. It's applying creativity to figure out new ways to arrange stuff. It's not a matter of just computation. It's kind of silly, but the quote's cool, and it does describe leaps of genius, even though the vast majority of scientific progress comes from the former type, the methodical experimentation, categorization. But yeah, the revolutionary leaps of genius are important too. This will allow me to design impact units maybe later, see if any of them fill a better niche than missile troops. Your faction is indeed a mighty one. My force is yet strong. I should not allow you to plunder the wealth of this planet without calling me in for a share. My price is data on doctrinal loyalty. No, I'm not going to bow to your threats. Have it your way then. But bear in mind that friendship is a two-way street. Yeah. Be warned I should not long tolerate collaboration with mortal enemy. Sister Miriam. Energy credits. Loans. Selling my energy credits. Reserves already allocated. I have none to give. I mean, that makes sense. He's at war, and I have far more energy in him, and he can actually run his lab slider reasonably high if he's... No, he doesn't have anything increase. He's running planned, in fact. Still, I got some energy selling Yang's comic frequency and got a tech. I said not to do doctrine loyalty because even though it's actually to my interest for Sparta to build perimeter defenses, it's a waste of our minerals, really. Only use I really have for them. They can be useful for defending strong points and for low support mine-worn defense, but I'd rather that Santiago have to spend the tech the lab points to discover it on top of then wasting time building, and police state would help the Spartans. So yeah, because he could end up surrendering techs to the Spartans in exchange for peace, or when he becomes submissive. Yeah, I believe we're finished. Wall out. Unless, well, no, I have another proposal. I'll try this one more way. I could threaten him, but his might is wanting. He's already at war. It'll upset him, but I doubt he's going to survive Sparta. Or I could offer goodwill and friendship. I'll try that, and if not, I think I might threaten him. Sorry, I have none to spare. Refrain from crushing you like a bug. Temper commission. I can spare 100 G credits. No more. He's at war, so he was not going to risk my following through on that threat. I had no intention of doing so, of course, but yeah. I don't need him just giving the money to the Spartans when they take his bases, and they will take his bases. Doesn't even hurt my integrity to make that threat against someone I'm not in pact with anyways. This is going to be a long video, but I do want to see if Yang will buy comlink frequencies. You nonlinear mathematics for world map. No, I'm not really. I'll steal his map probably with a probe team. No. Your faction is indeed a mighty one. Forces yet strong. No, I'm not going to give him the threats either. Must confess I'm a bit strapped for cash. If you can spare me 294 energy credits, pay him back at a... I am not your personal moneylender. Actually, I want to borrow money, not have it your way. But bear in mind, friendship is a two-way street. I came for energy. Name your price. He wants not only your mathematics, but he can only spare 25 energy credits. I mean, I don't mind if he goes to war with Deidre, but I'd rather he lock in some units with lasers. Eventually, he can train missile units, actually, now I think about it. Someday impact units would be so obsolete. Intellectual target get Osmond build police units, and the Hive will tend to run police state. Already is running it. Very high police rating, therefore police units do a lot of good for him. Yeah, I'll do it. It makes for a faster game, all this tech trading, if nothing else. In many cases, it actually hurts my ability to win a little, but this game has been going slow. I'm sure you guys are aware. This will make the game be over in fewer turns. Because the AIs will tech stuff I don't have, I'll be able to trade. Even if the net balance helps them more, it helps me. It helps both of us. And leads to getting to the mid and late game stuff sooner. But I'm trying to opt for things that are my interests. Techs are expensive. Even at this tech cost is 664, and it'd be higher with all the techs I just got if I hadn't already locked that in. Obviously, giving not only our mathematics to Hive, they save them a lot more than cost them. If they were to move up their lab slider, which I'm not sure they have the efficiency for anyhow, because they locked to 0 efficiency. I think they 0, you might be able to go 60-40. And -1, like the Peacekeepers, I have to go 50 equal amounts economy in labs, except for penalties due to my low efficiency. It's one thing you can't ever ignore about low efficiency. rating. Well, I can, in best case, double that energy about every 15 turns if I invest it in like colony pods and formers. It's definitely helping the hive. But I am worried that Deidre's going to become just an absolute beast coding the map. Does he even have contact with Harley? Anyone else? Like, All right, Deidre again. One last chance to get tech frequencies, Deidre. Or maybe. She's already back to mood ambivalent? But it gave her all those gifts. I believe this was saved after. And they're ignoring my communications. But hey, well. I did sell comms to the university. I could contact Santiago right now. She hates me. She's already seething. Oh no, she's at non-committal. Probably because she's at war with the university and she's focused on that. And the network, and I'm allied with the believers who are at war with the university. Wonder if I can get a loan from her. I suppose it's worth a try. So we meet again, Commissioner Law. I trust your wimping social programs are proceeding to your satisfaction. I'm as always, Colonel Santiago. So it's wimping social programs. You realize, Eddie, I'm building a military that is already stronger than yours, and I'm modernizing it with. I'm gonna roll over you soon. My nemesis of the university has been conducting all matter of unethical, immoral, and evil research. Oppose to switch allegiances and help me stop him before it's late and lose integrity? No. Oh, and she's seething again. She's telling me she's doing impact infantry with synth metal armor. I am concerned that you appear to be withholding scientific data in violation of the UN Charter of this mission. Release your files on synthetic fossil fuels. Perhaps you should ask the UN to invoke sanctions. Ha ha ha. Seems a little out of character with Wall, but I am the Senate. Let that pass for now. You may in time have cause to regret such arrogance. I have a proposal. Name your price. That's a terrible deal. I was hoping she'd ask for comlink frequency. Okay, well, I've succeeded in upsetting Santiago by contacting her. Reminding her that she hates me. Got absolutely nothing useful out of that, unless aggravating the Spartans into a premature declaration of war is considered useful. I suppose, at some point. Time for the council. Once again. I'm obviously not electing Santiago. Planetary Governor, as before. She wanted tech, she should have been less cheap. It might have done something for 100 energy. Since then she texts stuff that I don't have, maybe, and then I steal those texts. But no, she offered me 25 energy for a valuable military tech. When we're in a Cold War, that's not going to happen. Deidre's got 635 energy. 635. Well, everyone knows everyone. I'm the Planetary Governor, and this video is an hour and 40 minutes. This is a mega video, and if it gets any longer, I absolutely will have to cut it in two. So, I hope you folks enjoyed this video. It looks like I just did a road here. Oh, you know, I can do this much. Oh, the condenser. Right. I'll call one of those. Are you kidding me? Turns to go 8? Two? It was 1. Okay, that's a bug. That's a bug. Darn it. Alright. Speed run all those same things. Yang. Secret semen brain.
There are two kinds of scientific progress.
I'm not giving you loyalty. He's solicitous, but he won't give me money unless I threaten him. Refrain from crushing like a bug. Temper, 100 energy. Gain nothing by contacting Santiago, whatever, but there we go. As long as it doesn't waste minerals to World Health Organization. She's working on fungicidal formers. Rush it next turn. Yeah. Okay, and this frees up this former, which is gonna go here because I mine for farm mine. It's not a road there, is there? Nope. There. Okay. Just wanted to get that former thing done while it was on my mind. I better cut this. I wish you folks all the best. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. May you always find a guiding star to lead you home. Until next time, this is Northstar. Adieu, and best luck.